What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Boyce, and you're here for another episode of the Facts Project. Today, very special guest, Fred Kennedy. We are here to talk about the Florida Hippopotamus cocaine massacre for Mad Cave Studios. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me. And that's great intro music, by the way. I really like that.
I appreciate that. You know what? This is second podcast. No. Not second podcast in a row, but two out of three. That commented on the music. So I work in nightlife. So I work in a nightclub.
Yeah.
So I run a nightclub. So I asked one of my DJ friends to actually hook me up with a beat. I need an intro beat. This was like a few years ago, and he was like, "I got you." He sent me a bunch of stuff, and I threw it on. Done. See?
I like that. It's got a good soul, big band style. I don't know if you ever listened to the Menahan Street Band. No. That's a band that I just absolutely adore. Big bands. Horns, keys, everything. That's what I love. And it's got that but it's at the same time not in your face about it. Just it's a good vibe. It's good listening music. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's the way that I've intended to be, because I hope that this podcast is just as easy listening as the music that I play in the beginning.
Well, I'll do what I can for you. I'm not making any promises though.
Well, I see as much just from your background alone. You're a radio guy as well as a comic artist. So how are you able to juggle both? And you even have done your own podcast in the past.
Yeah, I did. I had because I did TV too. Mm-hmm. So I was doing TV. So Canada has a channel called Teletoon, which is sort of like the Cartoon Network here in Canada. Okay. And I used to be their interstitial host. So hosting in between shows and doing interviews and all that stuff. And I did a podcast that was sort of like the Chumcast, just chilling out, talking with people, having guests on and all that stuff. Yeah. And I did that for a while. And then I did a radio play. It was a fan-made Star Wars radio play that was sort of like Platoon meets Star Wars. It was called Mud 79, which, to be honest, is the most fan service to myself that I've ever done. I was just doing the Star Wars story that I was confident would never get made. And I assembled all these people. There's a huge Rolodex. There's more than 120 people that were involved in that as cast members reading dialogue, etc. It was a really cool process and very fun to do. But my day job is still on the radio. I do afternoons at Q107 in Toronto, which is a classic rock station, which means I'm playing music that I grew up listening to because I'm old now. And it's a cool vibe. And I really feel that doing comics makes me a better radio announcer, because you have a tendency to indulge yourself with your own interests as opposed to what matters to your listener. Mm. And writing comics scratches that itch so that I don't feel pressured internally to do it on the air so much. I'm not going to be talking about big comic events, things like that on the radio, unless it's really over the top everywhere. It's omnipresent, and writing comics for myself gets that out of the way. And I actually write on the train. So I take the train to work and I take the train home and I write on my way in, and I find that gets the creative juices going, and then it gets that out of the way so that when I get to work, I'm focused on what I'm doing on the air. And then on my way home, I decompress by writing more. And I find that my train ride home at night is far more efficient in terms of writing. I get way more out because I'm already running when I hit that keyboard. You know what I mean?
Right. And you can honestly tell that, because you don't necessarily stick to one thing. You're transitional in the genres that you've done. Samurai Pizza Cats, Ed Romans.
Yeah. That's the thing. I want to do as many different things as possible, because I think that the first things that I started writing is I would try and write novellas and short stories, but I wasn't writing anything that I really so much liked. I was writing things that I thought you needed to write. Mm. And I was writing these introspective, symbolic stories about things that are going on in my life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. It's just, that's not really what I wanted to do, but I was struggling to write. I wanted to write. I just didn't know how. And then I think a real big writing turn was I wrote this fake autobiography of this champion cross-country skier turned war hero from Norway, which was a very weird story, but it was very fun to do. And that really got me more into writing. And I think that I've got this mentality where I want to write all of the different minute interests that I have. Like Dead Romans was like a story that I didn't see even succeeding because it was something I loved so much. You know, I loved it so much. I love Roman history. I think it's so cool. I read Asterix and Obelix growing up. I think it's awesome. But everybody wants to do like a big, epic, sweeping story like
generally,
that. You know,
the second you say Romans, you're automatically going to Lawrence of Arabia. You're going into
epic scale, huge.
Going into 300 if you're going into that type of complex. You know, there's no small Roman tales.
No, there's not, and everything is grandiose. It's interesting you say nothing. There's no small, because I took my kids to see Gladiator, the second Gladiator 2, and we were driving home and they're talking about it was so cool, and then they got this giant army that shows up at the gates of Rome, and I was like, guys, okay, listen, 16,000 soldiers to Rome is nothing. Like 16,000 guys show up at the gates of Rome, they don't even worry about it. They're not concerned at all. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, they would field like 50, 60,000 in one go. Like, and they're like, what? So it's even bigger. I'm like, it's so much bigger.
It's so much bigger.
We're talking like battle lines that are like 10 kilometers wide. It's the scale is hard to really imagine. And so I love doing that. But then I also love doing silly stuff like the Samurai Pizza Cats. That's like my favorite. I was so stoked to get to do that book. And it's funny because when they announced the book, I was at Toronto Comic-Con and Francis Manipul was there hanging out. He's like, listen, Francis. Yeah. Just because I'm writing the Samurai Pizza Cats doesn't mean that I'm too good to be your friend still. Okay. I'll still talk to you. You know, yes, I am writing the Samurai Pizza Cats, but I'm still just a regular guy. Like, to me, to me, that franchise is on par with like the Ninja Turtles and all that. It's like, when I take it so seriously and so over the top, I think people are kind of like, are you being serious? I'm like, I'm 100% being serious. Absolutely. I love it that much. But I love doing that. And then I love doing like satirical over the top stuff like the Florida Hippopotamus cocaine massacre.
What's funny, because I literally wrote down the word satire in my notes probably about 4 to 5 times. And I was like looking, all right. So now that we're into it, because going for one, I gotta give you credit because you're going from, something that's very childlike, but yet an aspect of a lot of people's childhood. So you're going into that type of creative IP. Then you're going into the big historical drama thriller that anything Roman could bring. Yeah. And now, jumping into this, that was 2023. Now we're talking about 2026 with something so, and it's almost perfect timing. I gotta say, perfect timing, because when for one, I didn't know where you were from until I read the first page, and I was like, "Where's Fred from?" And I was like, he's definitely not from the States. No,
but it was very informed, and I've said this. It was very informed by watching AFN, the Armed Forces Network. So my family's military. We grew up in Belgium, and the only real English channels you can get is like the BBC, and the BBC is really dependent on the geography of where you're living because it can be hard to get the signal from the UK. Yeah. But the AFN signal is always easy to get, the Armed Forces Network. And so it's like North American TV with a few months of delay, but there's no commercials. There's no like advertisements. It's all PSAs. And there's all these like anti-drug commercials, recruitment ads for the military. And I love it. That's it. And it's all in there. I feel that that was a profound influence on me growing up because we didn't move to Canada till I was 12. And like, you're on this base, and like, I was in the Canadian section, but but I played sports with all these American kids. Like
Uh-huh.
we all watched the same types of programs, and whenever there was like for Dare, we had to go to the American school section to do Dare.
Yeah.
So we all took our Dare pledge like at the American section, and it's like I'm very in tune with a lot of those childhood moments because we also had to watch all those shows and do all those things, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, well, then it's possible that we're probably like the same age.
Yeah.
I'm in my mid 40s.
So am I.
So I'm totally inclined with the Dare commercials and in watching literally the first 4 to 5 frames, the panels that you basically put out in pages 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Mandy Laser.
Yeah, Mandy
Right?
Laser.
Mandy Laser was a mixture of Nancy Reagan's Just Say No to Drugs commercial campaigns that she did for Dare and Barbara Bush's hair.
Yeah. There's also a sternness, like a Wilford Brimley diabetes commercial sternness
Absolutely.
about her. You know, that's also in there.
Because I noticed the closer that she got to the camera, I wasn't sure if it was depictions of all the wrinkles that were on her face, but she was really animated. And and the fact that she wheeled in a TV that wouldn't kick on right away, like every kid that was like, had a substitute that day.
Yeah.
And it was like, damn it, this TV's not working. Let's call audio to get over here. She had to bang it a couple times in order to get it going. Reminded me just of school.
And there's so many jokes that didn't make the cut.
Okay.
Like, there was jokes about tracking and this and that. Because remember the tracking dial on those old school VCRs? Yeah. So you'd have like the little dial on the VCR and to get the tracking right inside. And one movie it would work, the next movie it wouldn't, depending on the tape and depending on how warm the room was. But so James we would do a beat sheet, right? We would like have like a sheet of the whole issue, page by page by page. This is going to happen here. And then James would do thumbnails. So he'd thumb it out. And then I would write in the dialogue. Like I printed out the paper. And then I would handwrite dialogue onto the pages and sort of move stuff around.
Right.
But there were so many jokes that ended up not making the cut. Like so many jokes, especially in that scene with the VCR. And what happened, we got kind of inside of our own heads about like, you need the jokes to land regardless if anybody's ever even seen a VCR before.
Of course.
So like my oldest thinks it's very funny and he has no concept of, and I had to explain to him the way cable worked once about like how a show was on, then it was gone. Like you didn't get to you didn't watch it. You had to wait for reruns.
You had to wait a week.
Yes.
You had to wait a week.
When a show got syndicated, that was like an awesome thing because there was a much better chance of you being able to see that episode,
Of course. That's probably the reason why we all know Golden Girls.
Yeah, Golden Girls. Star Trek from so in Edmonton we used to get it was TV stations were all from Spokane, Washington. It was all the TV we got was from Spokane, Washington, and it was always Star Trek on at 5:00, so we could watch like this run of TV shows, and it was always Batman the Animated Series, Samurai Pizza Cats, and then I would flip over to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. Different era, man. Yeah.
Now it's funny, of course. Onus to the title. Over here in the States, we believe that Florida is a foreign country.
Yeah.
So it's okay to think that Florida could be a foreign country to a lot of people outside the United States because we feel the same way.
Yeah, I felt like I didn't want to feel like we were denigrating Florida, but I do love the Florida man concept. And
that's even more fascinating. Go ahead.
So it was originally supposed to be downtown Florida is what we were going to call it.
Which would have been perfect.
Yeah. So downtown Florida, which comes from that South Park bit of downtown Canada. It was downtown Florida. And then we sort of changed things around. And the original title was Coked Up Hippos, which was just the working title, was just Coked Up Hippos.
Okay.
And the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre was really James's first big handed move that he did. Like, no, we need a title that's just over the top. So it's got to be so unwieldy that it's even just fun to say. And I be honest, I was a little bit like, I don't know, but he was very, no, trust me. So I trusted him, and he's 100% correct.
Absolutely correct, because there's movies from that time frame. Amazon Women on the Moon, or the Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah,
That title works for exactly what you're doing, because basically, if you look at every character that you created throughout this book and the way that James basically has put them on page, they're all stereotypical. Obviously.
Oh yeah. So I sold the book to James to work on it with me. I was like, it's Jurassic Park and Narcos Mexico meets The Naked Gun.
Okay.
Like, so it's like got the tone of like The Naked Gun, but it's Jurassic Park and Narcos, because the original concept had them trapped in this like mansion. Okay. It was trapped in like this big compound, and it was supposed to be very Miami Vice kind of vibes of the big mansion, lots of stuff going on. Yep. And it was a big sting operation that went off the hook, and it was a very small enclosed space. And there was an amusement park on the compound, and that led to the amusement park being the main setting for the story. And it really did evolve. And I think that when you're dealing with creators, everyone's, and this is just my way of doing it, everyone's got to feel heard. Everyone's got at the table. Like, unless you're like this superstar writer, don't go trying to work with an artist and then just tell them what to draw. Right. Like, create a story together. And I wanted to work with James because I like all of the things that James has already done on his own. And so the last thing I wanted to do was to tell him, do this story. I wanted to do a story together. And I think that I wanted to be very silly. And I was pushing for silly and fighting for silly and fighting for silly. And James was always fighting for grindhouse 80s, like the exploitation, acid wash stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And I think together we ended up at a very unique little crossroads.
You did.
So I like what it like what it worked out. And there's always like, it's funny, there's always jokes that I'm like, oh, I wish this joke was still in there. But we're gonna use that stuff for next year, next arc. If we get a next arc, like we've got 7 fully fleshed out like stories ready to go of like all of the things that we grew up loving. Like, there's an email chain right now with the management at Mad Cave where we're talking all about ninjas and how ninjas are so cool. And like we want to do a ninja story, but it can't just be ninjas. It's got to be ninjas and something else. We've also talked about like the world of professional pickleball, but like imagine a golden years elite level pickleball league,
like a tournament.
Yeah, like all these things, and we want to like combine all this stuff. And so I think what I think a lot of times is we'll send these emails and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, and then we've got to like show them what we're gonna do. You know?
Yeah. They've
been so good to us. Like huge love to James, editor James.
Yeah, James Emmett.
For tolerating us, because it's been a very unique process for him. And but like it wouldn't have happened without him and Becca, our colorist. Like, she's been fantastic. Like, I am a big lover of the people that I'm working with. Mm-hmm. And they could say, I could get an email tonight asking like, all right, full steam ahead, we're doing another one. And I would be like, I'll get it to you by the end of the month, man. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Like, okay. I'm super stoked. It's just, we're very lucky to be working with the people that we're working with, you know?
True. And to continue on, I mean, the story, of course, it's like this red-blooded spectacle of American culture in the 80s. The big hair.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I know that like reading something is generally you get your own iteration of what it is, obviously from the nostalgia standpoint.
Yeah.
Magnum PI, Simon and Simon, A-Team.
Mike Hammer is a big one for me in there. The reason he was driving a Porsche, because my dad loved Mike Hammer, and Mike Hammer's like the worst, because it's like he's driving like he's this private detective that looks like a guy from the 40s driving a white Porsche. And it's just like,
you're not being conspicuous, bro. Everybody
no,
knows you're
not at
pulling
all.
up.
It's so silly. It's so cheesy. There's that Bill Burr show, F is for Family, and the dad always watches Colt Luger, a man's gotta do what a man does, or whatever that stuff. Like, those types of shows totally weave themselves into this story, because that was a big genre, and Miguel Senecoza is that. Like, he is that to the nth degree. That whole easy gumshoes, I'm one of the good guys. And he's just like hacking a dart as he says it. And just, they're all so terrible. They're just all terrible.
Everybody. Everybody. Like Miguel Tico Senecoza. Clarke Nebraska.
She's my favorite. She's my favorite character. Yeah.
Like her first introduction to Miguel is kneeing him in the nuts. Which I found was hilarious. And the more diabolical antagonist in all this, if I'm saying this correctly, Jean's Major Discau.
Yeah, because that was a thing. So we wanted, like, everyone screws up everyone's names, right? Yes. And so there's this radio thing, and it drives me bananas. Like, radio people all have this idea that they got to say everything right. They got to say everything perfect. Everything's got to be perfect.
Is this why you butchered everybody's names?
Yes, 100% it is, because everyone is always screwing up everyone's names, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So in the story, everyone is pronouncing each other's names wrong and inconsistently, and I think that makes it more real.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's Jans Muir Discau is his name. But sometimes people call him more Disco. Sometimes people call him Mr. Disco. Sometimes people call him more Discau. And if you watch consistently, Miguel can't say Nebraska's name. He's constantly calling her something different.
The fact that her name is Clarke is also hilarious.
Yeah, which was, by the way, it was Clarke, Nebraska before James Edward Clarke was working on the book. Originally, Clarke, Nebraska is a play on Johnny Utah from Point Break.
Yeah.
So the original version was that he was a washed up university athlete that could have made the show and he got hurt. And that story is still in place for this version of Clarke, Nebraska. And you learn about it in issue 2. It's just very different. And so the original version was Clarke, Nebraska. I describe him as a big, moosey, corn-fed jock super cop is what he was.
Right.
And because my initial version was like Bad Dudes, like that NES game. Are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president? Like, it was sort of like that vibe. But then James said, he goes, no, we got to make Clarke a woman. He goes, because what that does is it opens up a lot more things we can do with action sequences. And it also creates a different dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah.
But then we were we were both like, neither one was like, no, I disagree with doing this. Like, it was not a hard sell on me to do that. But then my one caveat, and he agreed, it wasn't even like a caveat that he didn't want to do. I go, we cannot have that cliche, he's a wild guy that does all these crazy things and she's by the book and doesn't like it and is no nonsense. I go, no. If anything, it has to up it to be even worse about who's worse. Who is more insane?
It seems that way.
Yeah.
No sides are equal in no type of parallel. There's no good. There's no bad. Everybody is silly, which is even more perfect about this. Because, like, Jans, and now that I know his name, is being trucked around on a forklift. He's being brought in. I looked at him in the beginning because of how massive that he is on the panels as like a Morton Joe from Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that they keep like trucking him in, like bringing him into a venue so he can speak to somebody, and then they pull him out like physically.
So James did this book years ago about former Toronto Mayor Rob Ford.
Oh my God.
And so it was originally this book.
I didn't put it together.
Yeah. So he did this book, and I think it was just called 32 Sketches of Rob Ford, and he was just selling it at a show. and I bought it because I met him through some other creators here years ago, and I bought it immediately. And then he was selling these like Rob Ford stickers, and it's just, it was such a good series of sketches and all these highs and lows of emotion. It was really cool. And then that sort of weaved its way into the book as like a boss hog, like kind of big, rotund, large, takes up a lot of room kind of thing. And we didn't want to have a one-trick pony villain. And I think that there's some really cool character work with him because he's such a hyperbolic, bombastic type character.
Yeah, because he looked like he could have a heart attack at any moment.
Yeah, like, but he had a dream, and it's really cool because in issue 3 you really see, no man, he was trying to do something very different than what he is doing now, and now it like has morphed and changed into what it is at the end, and it's such a ridiculous ending. Like the ending, I say this is the person who wrote it. I don't even think the ending really makes that much sense, but it's very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it has to.
Yeah, the Blazing Saddles ending is one of my favorite movie endings, where like they come out of the screen and then the ending of the movie is them watching the end of the movie.
Right.
That type of idea, like that Mel Brooks-esque that's what we were trying to do. And like, I'm very lucky that James was like, yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah. So it ended up working really well.
So aside from him trying, like in any drug movie, it's like the person evading the FBI has to flush his shit down the toilet.
Yeah.
He chooses the opposite. I got a ton of this stuff. So it's like, let me just let it loose where all these hippos are, and then just see what happens. So when we're going through episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by the time we get to the end of this escalation, are we just going to wait for the high to come down?
No, no. I will say this: there's no way that you will see the end coming.
I'm sure I don't.
Like, there's no way. Like, and the thing is, we went through like 4 endings. We wrote like 4 different versions. That's almost every scene in the book has multiple iterations of the way we've done it.
So
because we can't.
Wait, are you telling me there's going to be like alternate endings?
No. There's only one ending.
Okay,
we decided on one, but we wrote a bunch because we kept coming up with really weird stuff. Like, and the thing is, I don't want to give any of the things that didn't happen
away. Give it away.
Because not even so that they're ruining the story, so that we could use it in another book later on, because we really like some of these ideas.
Because I got to get to know the characters, because I'm pretty sure you're going to give us like all the origin stories for Miguel and Tico, how they came to be, Jan's, Clarke.
Yes. Clarke Nebraska's origin is I have teased some of Clarke Nebraska's origins on social media before, but like a year ago.
Oh.
But we don't really get into Miguel and Tico so much, but you get really into Clarke. You get enough of Miguel through the dialogue with him that you feel like you know what's going on. But there's more characters that are bigger characters in the story that are going to be introduced in like issue 2.
Okay, so aside from the fact that he's Ricky Ricardo if he was a cop.
Yeah. So, like in Narcos Mexico, there's a character in the final season, and he is a cop, and he's not like a good guy, but he realizes that he can do some good in the world, and he tries to go on this redemption arc, and it becomes this like all-consuming thing where he's got to become a good guy. He's got to redeem himself. And he knows that it's going to have a real tragic end. And the guy who played him, its name is Luis something. I forget what his name is.
Okay, because I thought it was going to be Wagner Moura's character, but he played Pablo.
No, not at all.
Okay.
He's got this great like power stash, like look like, and I've posted it on Instagram once or twice. Like, that guy was this is where Miguel's character came from, was that guy.
Because he had
and
a high Johnny Bravo pompadour.
No, he doesn't even. It's not even his hair. It's the mustache. It's the way his mustache goes. The hair is really James just making him look really cool and unique.
Right.
Like there's the original opening, the original opening for the story. Miguel was very much like Tequila in Hard Boiled, and it shows him like he does like the original opening. So we keep referencing how there's these guys that beat up these teenagers dealing pot at a high school. That was the original opening scene of him rolling in hot and heavy and fighting these like 15-year-olds like in front of a high school. And so it was like yeah, it's like
It's Always Sunny where he beats up all the kids.
Yeah, like it was akin to that. Like it was like, and the thing was, these kids were like playing jacks or something, and then like a kid's doing jump rope, and they're like, "Get out of here, old man! You don't belong." And he's like, "I'll show you who doesn't belong. Drugs!" And then he like fights them and stuff. And so he beats. And the thing is, it's so over the top. And there's like the other cops show up as backup, and it's like there's like Legos on the ground. He's like, "It was out of control, fellas." Like, and it was so over the top. Right. And then he goes to a bar, and it's like a jazz bar, but it's like a Chuck E. Cheese for alcoholic grown-ups that like jazz. And there's like an animatronic robot jazz band on stage. And he's like, "Oh, play my favorites." And he's like talking to the animatronic guys. It was so ridiculous. Like, and so that's like how it was originally supposed to open.
Yeah.
And then like, and we're like, we got to use that somewhere because we created this like opening issue that like didn't even really get to the beginning of the story. So we had to like, the original opening like is cut off because there was a whole huge scene. Because when you're reading the book and there's clearly a bunch of like, it's at an amusement park and it's really big and all the feds are everywhere and they're talking on their earpieces. And then this guy comes out of nowhere. In the original opening, it was him learning about his brother getting like made and getting captured. And then he shows up, even though he's told not to show up, you know? Okay. Yeah. I can send you the script if you want to read it. It's insane.
It's crazy because I don't think a lot of people do this in comics. I mean, as much as there is like some people do satire of like a certain story that maybe that they always loved, and yet they wanted to just flip the script and everything like that. The fact that there's not a Hot Shots Part Deux that's comics.
Well, so I was pretty gun shy about the idea because it is so out there, you know, and I was talking to Joey Esposito about it.
Yeah,
and like. The Pedestrian is done so well. And The Pedestrian is one of my favorite books in the last like decade. Mm-hmm. It does everything that I want to see a superhero comic do. Even if you couldn't really call it a superhero comic per se, I would call it a superhero comic. But I love The Pedestrian. And I do feel like there was probably a lot of people that almost naysayed that kind of a story.
Oh, for sure.
And to hear Joey be so kind about what it was we were doing really filled me with a lot of confidence about it overall. So yeah, I do feel that it's a great time for unique things like that. I'm a big fan of everything Chip Zdarsky does as well. And I think like that we need more of that. I was really excited to see that news about the DC Mad Magazine thing. Like I'm a huge fan. Like I think Chip is one of the most effortlessly hilarious but good and intelligent people ever.
It doesn't take much because like of course he's doing like Captain America and Daredevil and everything like that, but he could pivot so far to the left with White House robot romance.
Yeah.
Which once again, perfect timing. It was about Canadian-U.S. relations. Two robot maids, a maid and a butler, basically are intertwined in this basically national security type nonsense that's going on around here. And the fact that Chip wrote that, and then he was like, okay, yeah, this is the guy that basically had one of those real good Daredevil runs and everything like that. Just like shows, it's like, yeah, he did.
Yeah. And I think like, and I think that if you do different stuff, it makes everything better because you're much more enthusiastic about the thing that you are doing at the time because you haven't been doing that before. So I do a lot of video game writing as well. And like I do work with a lot of stuff with Blizzard, and the tone that I'm doing with Blizzard is so different. Like, dude, when you do like Diablo stuff, it is really dark, it is really heavy, it is really in there, you know? And then you'll do stuff with Overwatch that isn't like that at all. It's much more about like relationships and people relying on each other and friendship and retribution and all that. So it's like when I'm doing things, I want to do very different things all the time. You know, like do very different things a lot is like my favorite way to move forward as a creator, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, not all of us are going to be able to be Stephen King and just do horror.
Yeah.
All the way down the pipe, which he's honestly very good at.
Yeah. And I think like when it comes to that, like his other stuff that isn't horror is so pure and genuine, specifically because it's so different than what else he's doing.
Oh yeah.
You know,
the Running Man.
Yeah. And like Shawshank Redemption, you know, like that, like we've all seen that a million times coming home from the bar late at night when that was on cable. That's always on TV.
And I'm talking about the old school, like Shawshank Redemption and like the old school Running Man, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger one.
Yeah,
the fact that like, you know, with Dynamo, he's a rap, like this sound like this with that type of stuff.
Dude, I just made the kids watch that with me like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And
you had them watch
They loved it.
They
loved it.
There's nothing you can't not like about that. Dynamo is an opera singing villain.
Yeah,
he's
driving his little car. There's little car driving around. That's
super comic booky.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Brown has a weird ass wig on to where he's got this gray hair and everything, this gray streak afro, and I was like, this is crazy as hell. But this is great.
Pyro, right? His name was Pyro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. So like, to be honest, this type of story is needed. I think at this perfect time. Especially when you're trying to basically like build out a series. Now, how many issues are you going? This is a limited series, correct?
It's 4. If it continues to do well, we might get a second arc. We're hoping we get to do a second arc. If it's really well received, like it looks like it's entirely possible that we could do more. I would love to, because we've done so much work on other stuff outside of it. I could get into the stories. There's like time travel ones. We put them in space. We did. The only thing we won't do is we won't do any supernatural stuff with them.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is I can see all of that.
Yeah.
See, I don't feel like there's any limitations to this story. Like I feel like there's a whole cannonball run of all of this happening.
We want to do, like, the thing was, we really want to stick in that 80s VHS world, and all of that stuff is there. Like, there's always a very special episode of, you know, where little Timmy finds heavy metal, and next thing you know, he's on the dope, you know? Right. So, like, those types of stories are so prevalent in that era. That's all fodder for us and our little world that we've got.
Well, I say continue having Mandy Laser narrate this entire story.
Yes, she will. Like that there is some evolution with that. So I'll put it this way. The full title of the story is The Laser Drug Force in the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre. And there is something to that. Yeah.
Which is perfect, because why not make a spectacle on the war of drugs? Nobody won the shit anyway. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
Fred, I thank you, of course, for doing this with me. I'm really looking forward to the book. The FOC, of course, had already passed back on Monday, but I know comic shops like to be like, hey, by the way, it's like a week till it's about to come out, so start purchasing up some more of these comics. Yeah. We're getting like a ton in. So obviously, if you had a chance to basically, you've already made your pitch for the story when you first got it. What of course is your pitch for customers? Obviously, you're doing a lot of podcasts lately, so
Yeah, like I say, it's Narcos Mexico meets Jurassic Park if it was directed by the Abrams brothers. So if you grew up like watching those PSAs about drugs, this is it. Like this is it, as if it was blown wide open. You know.
excellent, excellent, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. I've already read it, for episode 1. And by the time I was finished reading it, I was like, "This shit is crazy. I need more."
Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely, man. So of course, once again, thank you for one creating this book. I hope everybody gets a chance to watch it because I feel as though there's a lot of comics that are extremely serious.
Yeah,
and yours tends to just take us off the beaten path and be like, okay. Why
I don't think
not?
there's been a better time for silly. Like I think,
of course,
like this is a very important time to just have a laugh, man. Like yeah, like it's very silly and it's a great palate cleanser.
Of course,
is what it is.
To be honest, this seems like you and the artist, you and James are having a blast. You
should
James,
see the text line, man.
Becca, I feel like everybody's having a blast. As a matter of fact, I know y'all got a couple of chuckles out of James Emmett. I know you did.
Yes, we did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. James has been a big champion for us.
Good, sir. Once again, thank you. I appreciate this. This was an excellent chat. And for everybody out there, what was this episode 1 drops
February 18th.
February 18th.
Yeah.
All right. So
perfect Valentine's Day gift.
Of course. Right after Valentine's Day. Mine's is coming in the mail because it's my Valentine's gift to myself.
Beautiful.
All right. So for everybody here at the Frags Project, Fred Kennedy, Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre, the name literally says itself, is going to be in stores on February 18th. Go out there and get that. For myself, James Grandmaster Facts Boyce, and for everybody at Mad Cave Studios that agreed to put this damn story together, I appreciate you. And we will see you guys next time. We are out.